Hello. Today I'm going to talk about sugar, particularly on account of Government of India joining hands with the ISMA, the Indian Sugar Mill Association, uh, to do a massive advocacy campaign, both in the social media and in the print media, to promote higher sugar consumption in India. What the association and including the Government of India's Food Secretary have been saying is that Indians should be encouraged to consume more sugar because their per capita annual consumption is only about 19 kilo, whereas the global average is about 22 kilo. So Indians can still consume more sugars. So that's what the association says, and they have formed an organization called meta.org. So the whole aim of the organization is to scientifically encourage higher consumption of sugars by Indians. But this looks contrary to the scientific evidence and WHO recommendation and large number of studies that have come out which clearly say that sugar consumption is one of the bane of human health. Of course, India is already a diabetic capital. In the adult population, the diabetic population percentage is almost 14%. So, higher consumption of sugar is really going to damage the health of the Indians. What is this average per capita consumption compared to global consumption? Of course, they say 19 vis-a-vis 22 kilo in the world. But WHO clearly says that if you want to have good health, your energy percentage from sugar should be less than 10%. But if you really want the best health, your energy consumption from sugar should be less than 5%. What does it mean? Less than 5%. If you take 2000 calorie, less than 5% of the calorie should come, about 100 calorie can only come from sugar. Each gram of sugar gives about 25 calorie, 4 calorie. So which means you need about 25 gram of sugar in a day so as to provide, not a must, there is no compulsory, it is not a recommendation. It is only saying that you restrict to below 5%. There is no recommended, you got to take so much of sugar per day. There is no recommended dietary allowance for sugar. But the Government of India is saying, WHO is saying, yes, your sugar consumption should be less than 5% of your energy, which means 25 gram of sugar, which can give about, giving it about 4 calorie, that gives about 100 calorie. So for 2000 calorie, that is the best health. How much are Indians consuming? 52 gram a day. So whereas 25 gram is the real recommendation, 52 gram is what Indians are already consuming. But if you see the affordable section of the Indian population, about 10% of the 15% of the higher echelons of the society, echelon only from the point of view of per capita income, you see much higher consumption. This is the national average, 19 kilo. But those who are really consuming, they may be consuming about 50 kilo. In some state, the sugar-loving states, we know which states which we are talking about. They are consuming even 100 kilo of sugar per capita per annum, per person per annum. That's a lot of sugar. So what is the problem with the sugar? Sugar is probably the only a nutrient that we have been not a nutrient or substance that we have been, substance is probably a better word because they also say that sugar is a new tobacco. So it's the only substance that we take in our daily diet which has only sucrose, some bit of a calcium because they use calcium sources in sugar processing. Other than that, there is nothing else. It's pure sucrose molecule giving 4 calorie. What else does it give when it gives calorie? It gives nothing. Is there micro minerals? Is there micronutrients? Is there any other protein, fat, or any other nutrients? Nothing. It just gives pure sucrose, and it has just pure sucrose, and it gives 4 calorie. And whenever any food product any food substances that gives just calorie without nutrient is called junk food. If there is one best example for junk food, it is none other than sugar. There is also another nice statement saying that what is pure is junk. Sugar is a pure substance and pure is junk. I keep always saying that I am not pure because I float in the microbial milieu, because there is a nice book called 10% Humans, because our body is only 10% human if you really take the cell count. The gene count, we are not even 10%. We are many, many times smaller, minuscule, floating in the microbial milieu. So that's what it is. So, but what is pure is junk. Sugar is the best example. What is the problem with the sugar? So sugar, of course, if you take the consumption pattern, if you take the Indians consuming about 19 kilo per capita consumption, but if you take the WHO recommendation, I said it's only about 12 kilo, which is more than sufficient per capita. Based on WHO requirement, WHO guidelines, India needs about 12 million tons of sugar. But how much sugar India has? 35 million tons. Sometimes if you take the backlog, 40 million. Last year we had about 40 million tons, about 5 million tons of backlog of the previous year. So 35 million ton, and for that we grow about 350 million tons of sugar cane. For that we use majority of the water from the Indian dams go to sugar cane. And what do we get out of that? And these dams are built with lakhs of crores of taxpayers' money. And what happens from sugar cane? From sugar cane you get sugar. What is the byproduct you get? You get alcohol. How do they help? They don't help at all. So, and on the other hand, that's the ecological disaster on the one hand. And on the other hand, people who can consume sugar, it leads to a whole lot of problems. If you want to know more in detail, there is an interesting YouTube lecture by Professor Robert Lustig, a well-known pediatrician in California, called Sugar, the Bitter Truth. Of course, he has talked more about the sugar that we are today manufacturing from corn, not from sugar cane, not from beet sugar, but from the corn. From corn, because the corn starch is today enzymatically, through modern technology, converted into sugar. Much of the sugar that the world gets today doesn't come from sugar. It comes from corn, which is subsidized, highly subsidized, not in India, but in the European world, or the mostly in the American world. And that cheap sugar that they get from the corn goes into soft drinks, and soft drinks can make better money with cheaper sugar. Because somebody was asked when he was selling a bottle of soft drinks, what are the ingredients in the soft drink? And the guy said, there are no ingredients. Marketing is the only pure ingredient in this. So that's the story about sugar, how it is manufactured. Robert Lustig talks about sugar made from corn through enzymatic process. That sugar is known as high fructose corn starch syrup, or corn syrup. The corn syrup is more deadlier than cane sugar. Well, whatever be the form, some are more deadlier than the other, but sugar in total, in general, that is something that is not really good at all for the human health, because it's a junk calorie, and it may be giving a sweet taste, but it is also highly addictive. Today, there are a number of studies. There is one interesting study where the two groups of rats, one group was given high fruits and vegetables, the other high sugary food. After some time, they flash a laser torch that would burn their body. The ones feeding on fruits and vegetables, they just jump and run away, because survival is the basic instinct. You have to survive. Darwinian theory, if you survive, you can eat and munch. Whereas the ones feeding on a high sugary food keep on munching, even though their body is being burnt. That just simply means they got addicted to sugar. So sugar is today addictive. That's why they say sugar is the new tobacco. So what is the problem with the sugar? Sugar, as you would be knowing, that the human body cannot store sugar. We do not know the answer. Why we have evolved not to store sugar. Typically, human body would have about 5 liters of blood, but it can only hold 5 grams of sugar. A narrow band of sugar that the blood can maintain. Why? Some people say we have been a fruitarian because of our ape ancestry for a long time, and never was there a need to store more sugar because it was easily available through fruits, because of fruitarian age. So that's how we have evolved. But through fruits, you have to consume quite a lot. If you normally fruits contain about 10% sugar. So you have to eat a lot because lots of it is water. Your belly will be full. You can't eat. But whereas today, purified sugar, you can just keep on adding a spoon here and there, and all kinds of sweets that we eat, we really overload ourselves with sugar. But this 5 liters of blood can hold only, as I said, 5 grams of sugar. And when the sugar level goes up, when we flood our blood with sugar, the insulin has to spike and convert all the sugar into fat. Funnily, humorously, they say that refined sugar, a few seconds in the mouth, few minutes in the stomach, permanently in the buttock. So or the other way of saying is from lips to hips. So because the body can't hold sugar. So why we do not know the anthropological answer. So today the major problem is we are consuming more sugar, and sugar the body can't hold, so getting converted into fat. Most of the Indian obesity is less to do with 55% of Indians are fat deficient. It is less to do with the excess fat consumption. There is, of course, fat gives more calorie, 9 calorie. Excess fat can also lead to obesity, easier obesity. But the Indian obesity has got to do with more sugar consumption and refined starch consumption. Probably I'll speak some other day on the refined starch, pure white rice and purified wheat flours and all that we are using, removing all the fiber and all that. Probably I'll take it up some other time. But the sugar as such, this is the story of the sugar. And being a diabetic capital, it is high time that we reduce the sugar consumption. Anybody who reduces sugar to less than 5% of energy, to a large extent, health is in our hands. So the government of India's support for the Indian Sugar Mill Association to scientifically promote sugar is probably akin to 200 years of tobacco companies trying to encourage consumption of tobacco. I remember reading a tobacco company people writing about smoking by Dunhill. The name of the book is called Gentle Art of Smoking. We don't know what is this gentle art of smoking, and that is how, and nearly 100 years the tobacco industry brought out reams and reams of scientific papers to say that there is no link between tobacco and cancer. So you may produce a lot of such scientific evidence, but the fact is that it's a pure food, which gives junk, empty calorie. And sometimes you may get a good report because they say there is a connection, organic connection between funding and finding. So such findings we cannot trust. WHO is very clear about it. It's high time we say to a large extent goodbye to excessive consumption of sugar, limit it below the 5% level. Thank you very much.